Now, as far as trying and get a second opinion for rare health disorders.
Org here at the International Students for Liberty 2015 conference. I'm joined by our good friend Carlos Morales. Now, if you don't know Carlos, you haven't been on our YouTube channel, which is not good. But Carlos is actually a whistleblower. He was working for the CPS and exposed many corrupt, illegal activities by that state-run institution. Now, I've been talking to Carlos. He's been doing a lot of research, a lot of homework. He also has written a book, but a lot of important information that Carlos revealed has been added upon because he's been studying specifically medical kidnapping. Now, Carlos, what is medical kidnapping?
Well, first, thanks for having me on your show. You know, the book came out recently. It's called Legally Kidnapped: The Case Against Child Protective Services, found at legallykidnapped.net. Now, the idea of medical kidnap is essentially the catastrophic, epic in proportion, terrible actions committed by hospitals right now of calling child protective services every single time a parent is deciding to try and get a second opinion for rare health disorders. As a result, child protective services comes in, states that they have things like Munchausen's by proxy, saying that the parent is negligent, and then taking that child out of the parent's hands and placing them in the hands of foster homes.
Now, Carlos, you also broke the story of how CPS gets paid, and there's an incentive to take away children away from their parents. But is there any example that you researched or you found out with a particular person that is really shocking or that really just blows your mind with medical kidnapping?
Now, as far as the statistics of medical kidnapping, it's getting harder and harder to understand only because of the fact that they keep so much of the information secretive. Now, a huge problem, though, is actually a result of the Medicaid Act. So essentially, if you have a child with a rare disorder and the parent states, well, I can't afford to take care of that particular issue right now, or I don't want to go through the means that you are suggesting us to do, then the foster homes or the state can then take over the rights of the child, and everything is paid for by Medicaid, and they continue to bill and bill and bill and bill.
So is that a part? Did that change because of Obamacare?
Obamacare actually doesn't have that much to do with it. The recent cases of medical kidnapping may have been going on for longer than we thought. It's just a result of more media coverage that this is actually starting to come out more.
Now, I know the research and just finding everything about this specific issue has been extremely difficult. Can you tell us about your research process?
Media coverage
and
this is actually
some of the revelations that you found out?
Yeah, absolutely. I worked with some of the individuals from Health Impact News, medicallykidnapped.com, because those individuals are working incredibly hard to talk to parents who are having to deal with CPS, including the woman rather recently who lost the rights to her 17-year-old child because that child did not want to get chemo. A 17-year-old, the fact that we're even using the term child is absolutely ridiculous. That is an adult, and if they choose to want to not use chemo or to use chemo, that is their call. Instead, right now, that person is stuck in a mental health facility over the course of the last 3 months, and it's disgusting. How is taking away someone's freedom healthy for them?
No, the stories are just insane, especially the ones that you were revealing to us beforehand. What key important elements do people need to understand when it comes to medical kidnapping?
Well, just keep in mind the fact that at any point, Child Protective Services can be called on you. And it can be for a massive amount of things, including, which I saw in effect, individuals who admitted to their health practitioners that they had used marijuana at some point. Those health practitioners then go ahead and call Child Protective Services and they end up getting their kid removed. So keep more of that information kind of secretive if you don't trust the individuals who you're dealing with. Yeah. And that goes for social media, that goes for everything. I understand the marijuana advocacy movement, but going out and posting pictures of yourself smoking weed while your baby's behind you might not be a very good idea.
Yeah, there's one particular case in Texas, and correct me if I'm wrong, the father used to smoke marijuana. There was a raid on his house. They found one joint. They took away the kid, and the kid died in foster care. Yeah. Are there other cases, or do you want to expand on that case? And what other important information do you want to add to just this one particular topic?
Well, when it comes to the marijuana use thing, as I brought up on your show before, only 20% of removals from parents into foster homes are for physical or sexual abuse. A vast majority of cases are for drug use, and a huge chunk of that is for marijuana use. The amount of children who have been taken from parents and due to the fact they admitted to using marijuana, and then having those children then raped in foster home is absolutely staggering. And I hope for the betterment of individuals to recognize the fact that Child Protective Services is not an agency which helps out children, but in fact hurts them, and they've done it time and time and time again.
Yeah, and in the last video we did, you went over in great detail about how horrible the whole foster care system is and how it put kids in danger instead of actually protecting them. The first video we did, these are videos that are going to be in the description below so you could actually watch. The first video, you exposed the blatant corruption within the whole entire CPS system that you work for. Now, Carlos has also been working with people one-on-one, individually, helping them deal with this kind of state authority that has been coming into people's lives and has been sometimes doing a lot of wrongs. Any other piece of research that you want to put out there that to you sticks out on all the extensive work that you have been doing on this very key important topic?
Well, it was actually doing your show that kind of inspired me to end up writing a book on the subject, which again can be found on legallykidnap.net, that explains exactly how to deal with Child Protective Service investigators if they come to your home to try and take away your children, and has already helped hundreds and hundreds of families to prevent children from going into foster homes. So I would duly recommend going to that first. If there's information there that did not help you, if you went through it and everything else, it didn't help, then of course you can message me, go through Child Protective Services Victim Support, which can be found online as well.
And then with medical kidnapping, so just to put everything in together, it's specifically when people ask for a second opinion. Are there any other instances when this happens?
Okay, there's been quite a few other altercations in which this has occurred, including instances in which people were skeptical of things like vaccinations. When parents admitted to the use of marijuana, when they were drug tested, say 2 months into a pregnancy, not realizing the fact that they used weed, say 8 weeks ago, then it comes out in the test that they tested positive, and those children were then removed from those homes where they were stuck, and those children ended up getting placed in foster homes where they're 7 to 8 times more likely to be physically or sexually abused, 6 times more likely to be placed in psychotropic drugs, and 6 times more likely to die than if they stayed in an abusive household.
Yeah.
This is epically terrible.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that a lot of people aren't acknowledging what is going on because it is attacking and hitting up minority groups and those who are impoverished. That's why 40% of foster homes are made up of Black children, even though they only make up 8 to 10% of the U.S. population as a whole. This is just an extension of a program which is designed to destroy the family.
Well, staggering facts. And with the changing drug laws within the United States, is it having an impact on this kind of medical kidnapping?
With the staggering, can you say that again?
With states like Colorado legalizing marijuana, has this affected medical kidnapping in any way, shape, or form, or had no impact?
Well, actually, when it comes to the states like Colorado or states of California, as I mentioned before, even if it's legal, technically, they're still going after these families.
Right.
And it makes it even worse in places where you have medical marijuana licenses, because then they go and attack those families who have those licenses. It's almost like a license for Child Protective Services to come and harass and bombard you. Because since it's still federally illegal within our own society, marijuana is seen as somehow worse than alcohol, which blows my mind because both of us have the statistics. Alcohol is much worse for any individual than marijuana.
Thank you, Carlos, for those staggering facts. Is there anything else you want to expand on or talk about?
Again, just keep in mind the fact that Child Protective Services is a domestic terrorist agency which has been set on destroying families and children across the United States. Never call CPS if you're dealing with individuals who may or may not be using drugs. Don't call them in those particular cases. Be aware of the problem and try to defend yourself as best as you can.
Yes. And in the previous videos, we also went through solutions with Carlos. Carlos, thank you so much for all those staggering facts, all your research, your book, and also helping and volunteering people who need help in these situations for free many of the times. Where can people find you? Where can people buy your book? Where can people support you?
Yeah, again, the book is available on Amazon right now. You can go and just type in Legally Kidnap, the Case Against Child Protective Services, or go to legallykidnap.net. I also have another website called cpsvictimsupport.com.
Thank you.
Okay, powerful testimony.
It's available on
clearly identifies CPS as a domestic terrorist cell. It's worse than Al Qaeda ever could be. CPS. We've heard the numbers getting higher. We went from 700 to just over 1,000 a day. Children snatched up into the system every day. I think they said every 2 minutes a child goes into foster care. But domestic terrorist cell, very good. Coming out of Texas, couldn't work there over 16 months. He says any good social worker, they quit. We got another author. Again, this is author, social worker, blows the whistle, couldn't take it, causing more harm than he ever could fix anything. It's a child traffic racket. So very proud of what he's done there. Got some another author coming in. Let me see here.
Hi, this is Aaliyah Holland, the author of A Little Lynch, and it's been 2.5 years now since going into a domestic violence court and them stealing my son. The domestic violence courts, their perception is that they're a champion for women and for children. It's a complete hoax, it's a complete scam. What they're actually doing is aiding, abetting, and protecting pedophile rapists, homicidal, suicidal killers, and men that brutalize and beat up women and diverting their crimes out of criminal court and bringing them into domestic violence and family court, which is actually a civil court. And moms like me, if we speak out against the crimes that they're committing inside the court, they steal our children and try not to let us see our children ever again. They stole my son when my son was 4 years old, and now he's 7. And the whole industry is just a fake industry. You got to be careful because my judge, Esther Morgenstern, was made the mentor, the goddess mother, by the DOJ after I filed a lawsuit against her, after thousands of complaints against her for serial family killing, after petitions against her. She was awarded and promoted up the chain for her case rigging, case fixing, training other judges of how to obstruct justice, how to be lawless and appear like you're advocating for domestic violence victims. The whole system is a fraud. And now you're going to have my judge training other judges of how to disguise crime as domestic violence. There's some real sick shit going on in there. Since having my son stolen, I've met over 3,000 mothers in the same situation, and we all came there for help, and now none of us have our children. They create a fake custody war, custody battle buzzwords, which is just to cover up sexual abuse on children and violence against women. There's nowhere to run to, nowhere to turn. I contacted the FBI, the DOJ, attorney generals, governors, mayor, Bloomberg, the DA at the time, Charles Hines. I contacted him over 15 times, Mayor Bloomberg over 20 times. I even reached out to nonprofit agencies, and everybody just give you lip service and want you to keep running around in circles. And when you stop running around in circles, you notice 3,000 other women going through it. It's a Holocaust and it's all a fraud. And I have a new book coming out, and all my money goes to this cause of getting exposure and abolishing the system, because it's a Holocaust and slavery. They have various schemes, various scams on how to terminate mothers and steal children. And if you know that, that's the plan of the devil, to destroy families and to destroy children. And it's horrible. Children are not being lost in the system. They're not being falling through the cracks. They're being stomped in the cracks and flushed into all of these pipelines. Many of our children are ending up in child porn and prostitution. Judges are selling our children to the prisons. They're selling our children to foster care agencies and psychiatric institutions. They're putting our children on dangerous psychotropic medications. And if mothers speak out like myself, I've been jailed And I also had warrants put out for me for my arrest for no reason. And my judge designed a scam to do
Hello, my friend.
judicial mafia style hit on me. What they do is when you speak out against them, they give you homicidal, suicidal acts, order protection against you, so that if he kills you, he gets off scot-free and is protected by them in the courts. People need to investigate it, look into it. Don't speak to the people involved in the courts. They're all in collusion with each other. Speak to the mothers of stolen children, like Safe Kids International, Cindy Dumas, Melissa Barnett, American Mothers of Lost Children, where you can go on mothersoflostchildren.org, Kathleen Russell for the Center of Judicial Excellence, Patrice Lenowitz, the Children's Justice Campaign. You have to speak to the victims. If you ever speak to the masters of disasters that's orchestrating these fake custody wars, these fake custody battles to cover up child rape and women being beaten, you'll never get a truthful answer. These are masters of disasters. They're the Bernie Madoffs of family and domestic violence court. And we have to end it before it's too late, because this is a shadow government. These are the hidden hands. And when you let rapists and abusers out into the public, which many men have then gone and raped other children and killed and murdered other people because the courts joined forces with them under the fake pretense of child protection. And it's all an act, it's all fake. And I just want to say thank you for listening to my story, and have a good day.
This is the book on Amazon. We put the link in there, A Little Lynched. What a great perspective. Again, we put the link to Aaliyah Holland's RN YouTube channel. Just, what a hoax, a charade. It's a fraud, everything. Just the way she identifies everything. It's just it's fakery, trickery, a demonic deep state, she says here. Lunatic quacks, judges. It just, you have to talk about it for what it is. Again, when you mention genocide, where's all the, they always say never again genocide, but we're experiencing it right now with all these child trafficking and money over their heads and the war crimes and probate, as well as children family courts. Baby Hitler, Esther Morkinson, has been protected by Department of Justice, FBI. Again, she talks about reaching out to everything and anything, and nobody cares. Nobody will do anything. You have nowhere to turn. Welcome to the demonic deep state. They control everybody. That's how they get away with everything. 20 years, Nazi judge, had beautiful propaganda pieces written about her. That she's probably such a great judge, spinning her sadistic slavery and Holocaust tricks, rebranding her as a honorable domestic violence champion. Yes, they that's all they do. It's scripting, it's fakery, it's trickery, it's Luciferian, it's demonic, it's a judgeship. Aaliyah feeling a little lynched. Yeah, you're present at your own lynching. She knows what it's like to dangle from a rope as your arms are tied behind you and you're dangling. They call it present at your own lynching. These courtrooms, these dictator courtrooms, you have no recourse. They do whatever they want and they get off on it, especially if there's a lot of racism and they're put in those positions for a reason. No connection to you, no connection. They have a connection to getting away with as much as they possibly can, destroying children, minds. Aaliyah also mentions about the injuring children, maiming them, giving them drugs, and then they go out and do more crimes, more issues, more problems. It's a big business. Trauma show. Yeah, a trauma show. Whoa, never heard that before. Yeah, trauma show. Oh, Truman Show. Yeah, I like trauma shows. We're at it. You go to those CPS courts, you're in a trauma show. Go against the number one mentally psychotic, quack, lunatic lawyer judge. And in the way they do it, the way they try to get, they get books, reporters to write about them, how great of a domestic violence judge they are. Um, Again, a judge, Judge Judy, said that judges in family courts are judicial hacks. They're morons and judicial hacks. Those are the ones that get into family court. You don't want to put them in where they're exposed to the public. You put the morons and the judicial hacks into those positions. And it's very strategic who they put in those positions. Over 10,000 moms, parents reached out, kidnapping, everything, selling their children, prisons, psychiatric institutions, guinea pigs, trafficking, spirit cooking, the media silent, intentional, complicit, co-conspirators, pretending to protect, best interests of children. What a, um, a term created. Hitler, Aaliyah, connected other authors, secrecy, family courts, Hitler's new empire. Again, I wanted to mention, where's the Jewish Defense League talking about children being trafficked in America, in the United States? Is it because there's not a lot of Jewish kids in foster care? Talk to me in the comments. Is it because do they essentially shy away from trafficking Jewish kids into foster care? Is there a reason that they're not targeting Jewish people for foster care? Is there a reason why the Jewish Defense League, never again, or the ACLU is not doing anything for these children and families caught in child trafficking, genocide, as Aaliyah describes it? I think genocide is just disrupting a whole culture. Talk to me, definition genocide in the comments. I'm going to go there in a minute. Best interest, progenitor, that term. So, worst enemies of the child, family courts. Yeah, they're not family courts. Yeah, they're, even that's a euphemism. Yeah, I call them dictator courts. I wouldn't even call them a court because they're so. The only thing that's legitimate is the building. Everything in it is a hoax, a fraud. It's terrorism. It's dictatorship. You think courts, it'd be like a game of tennis courts, basketball courts. There's lines, there's parameters of what's right and what's wrong, rules you got to follow. There are no rules in these so-called courts. Remember that. No rules. Francesca Amato, we love her. Carlos Morales, CPS whistleblower. Wow, great. A lot of good information there. A little lynched. Where are we at in the comments? Anybody? Genocide? Nobody. So I think we covered it. Who else was there? Yeah, just good explainers. If you can get these books, A Little Legally Kidnapped as well as A Little Lynched, get those books. Very powerful writers, and just know the trickery, the hoax, the charade, the inside scam, and it's all psychological warfare to break down children, break down families, get money. Just it's a business of destruction, a business of war. Yeah. The war courts. You should call them war courts. That sounds a little more legitimate. Not family courts, but war courts, because they're dropping bombs on you and your families with where they place children, placing them in dangerous situations beyond anyone's imagination. We see it nationally. We cover it nationally. We see it globally. We cover it globally. Thank you for watching, everyone. CPS News Network signing out. 826-511-21. Copy. Boom. 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 Okay. Yeah, we talk too much. You worried me to death. Oh yeah, 734. Yes. Hmm.